Today what we're doing is we're building the email newsletter campaign. We're going to use Mailchimp. I do like other platforms, but Mailchimp is what they use at Intentional Faith. And so what we're going to be talking about specifically today is we're going to be creating innovative headlines. We're going to make sure that there's a mobile view that's responsive and capable for people. You know, today everybody's using their phone to look at everything, including their emails. We're going to create motivational stories. A call to action is always important, especially for a nonprofit, and just creating more awareness and promotion. And this is part of branding your mission. And so we want to remember that we're not creating a sales pitch, but it's more like a marathon. And so we're not sprinting to the end. We're taking a little bit of information. We're kind of like creating a trickle effect of information that will continue to, plant seeds that will inspire people, and hopefully it will keep having them come back to your page or your mission, I should say. Okay. So this is interactive, so you don't have to mute yourself unless there's like a lot of background noise.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I only put like holding spots in here with some pictures that I found on the Intentional Faith social media site, and we really don't have any content as far as words. So this is normally where we would put the logo. So you can click right on the picture, or if let's say down here it's the words, it will give you the option to do editing. Your editing is always going to be on the right hand side of your screen. We're going to start with the picture. So we may want to edit the picture or replace the picture. I'm going to go ahead and replace it because there's one cool feature that I like. I could have this is the Intentional Faith logo. I could have simply put that there, but what I'm really trying to do is you can really capture the attention of people when you have something that they can connect with emotionally. And I feel like you can connect with like a person's face more emotionally. To edit this picture is I had put the logo on it, but I want to show you how I did it. So now that we've replaced it, let's go into the edit mode. In the edit mode, you can change the size, the shape, all of that. And so over here in the lower left-hand corner, what you're gonna see is your width and your height. And if it's too big, your recipients aren't gonna be able to see it or open it in the appropriate manner. So, excuse me, I recommend around 600 wide. And when you change the width, it'll automatically adjust the height. So you only have to change one side. This is already at 750, which is fine. I'm not going to change it. If it was 3,000, we would need to change it. A lot of times when you have really high dimension images, like in the 3,000, 2,000 range, it's just going to be too big. And it will remind you, that's the cool thing about Mailchimp, it will let you know like, oh, hey, we've got an image that's way too big. So if you get one of those little pop-ups, and we might see that today, that's when you're going to want to change it. But you could change the shape of it like this. Like if there was something in the middle that made sense to change it, we could do that. But I honestly, kind of like this one right here, so I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to show you a couple of fun features though. And over here on the left-hand column, as you just hover, you're going to see some things pop up. I didn't really see anything that needed to be changed. I think this is a really great image that I think was probably done professionally, but just for the fun of it, we're going to play with it. So overlays, when you click on that, you get this whole new bar of things that you can do. And so let's say we wanted to add some little features of lighting. Now that's way too much, but if it was the right thing, we could adjust how much by pulling this little bar over here and changing the lighting on that. Now you can also use the left and the right arrow to choose other options with the same kind of imagery. So it might be that this would be a better one. Quite frankly, I don't like any of it. I'm just using it as an example. If you wanted to try doing the hearts, you could do hearts. And then again, you can adjust how transparent or colorful your hearts are going to look. And then you can also change a little bit of the positioning of those hearts by using the left and the right arrows. Okay, so that's overlay, but we're going to choose none because I really like the image the way that it is. Now there's frames. I don't usually use the brush, but I'm going to use the sticker today because this is what I really want to do, is I want to put the logo in. So I've already uploaded the sticker that they provide, but in this case, I want to customize it specifically to Intentional Faith. So here's our sticker. Now that's way too big. So you probably already know that you can shrink and enlarge something. Where do you guys think we should put this? Oh, and before you say, don't you love how that little purple line shows up to show you that you're centered?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now I'm actually totally centered because I've got both lines going up and down and side to side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a little
directly over her
right
head.
above her head.
All right. So the purple lines help you to know that you're not going to be losing that once you get it into the template, but it doesn't mean you will. So we're going to see what that looks like. Now, if you click on it again, depending on what we're working with and what we're doing, you can change the opacity. So look at what happens. Like,
can we blend it into the background a little bit? Yeah, that looks good.
I think it's a little too dark though. That's at 50%. So let me just bring it back a little bit. So we don't want to lose it completely. What do you think?
Yeah.
I like that. Either that or off to the far bottom corner will be perfect too.
You like that? Okay, so
Yeah.
But it's light. It would have to be a little bit darker. I'm not really seeing International Faith too much.
okay. Is that better? Oh, we're back at 100%. Okay, so once we hit the save button, it's gonna be stuck. We can edit some more, but we can't undo unless we start over, just so you know. We're gonna do one more thing. So this guy right here, this little, do you see my cursor off to the left? It's got like a little banner A. I love this little guy right here. This is my favorite feature. We're gonna put the name of the mission, even though we have the logo, Intentional Faith. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna choose what it's gonna look like. So this is the first. I'm just gonna put it up here a little bit. This is the first option. Let me move the screen a little bit. Okay. So that kind of looks good.
I do like that.
I like it.
For the arrows is because it can change if I click it again. And I can change it again. Let's go to a different one. Could be that. I mean, I think they look cool, but that's not the right fit for what we're doing.
Right.
So like, we're just gonna play with it for a second and see what it looks like, and until we get the right one. And then there's one more real cool feature. And so once we finish this one, I'm gonna have you guys help me design the other ones. But this one is called In the Box. I really like this. And now what I'm gonna show you is gonna sound really weird for a second, because I'm gonna cover things up, but it's not gonna stay that way. And this may not work for what we're doing, but once we get this box nice and big like that, this little A right here is gonna invert it. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I don't really like how the words are over their faces, but we can sometimes get those words to move.
Okay.
And even though, and we can change the color too. Like, what is the color of Intentional Faith? Is that gray and red?
Yes, the gray and red.
Let's try gray. So we could go with gray, or we could go with red, but still, I feel like,
I don't like it at that bottom.
yes. So we're just gonna play with it for a minute. We can also change the color of the red. We can make it a little more, to match by when you double click these colors up here. Let's go back to gray. And then you see these arrows? There's one on each side.
Okay.
If it made sense, and I don't think it does here, you can make like a border.
That's cool.
So, but let's go back to what we liked initially, because I think that's what we want to stick with. Oh, there's a lot going on in this picture. We don't want to take away from the image itself.
I do like the white. But the only thing is, when you're looking now, the international is kind of unreadable behind that red.
Okay, I gotcha. Let's bring it down to the table. And we're probably going to have to shrink it a little bit.
Oh, I like that.
Now, it's not quite fitting because it's going to go off the page. So let's make it a little bit smaller. We don't want to lose it. So we may have to do a different graphic for it.
Yeah.
Now it kind of looks weird because this guy's way over here. It might be that we want to match him up and enlarge the square a little bit. So this is going to make you guys feel kind of like you're a graphic artist.
Yeah, that looks good.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I do like that. Yeah.
So we're going to hit save, and it's going to take us back to the template. There's our old image, and now here's our new image. I'm going to just use it as a holding spot, and I'm going to say insert scripture because we want to make sure that it's the right one. But before we move on, let me go back to this picture one more time because this is, I think, is really important. We're going to add a link. So we clicked on this again. You can see that it's clicked on because we have our editing thing over here. See where it says link? We're going to click on that. You can choose anything from a web address, an email address. You can attach a file. I'm not sure what the anchor link is, but we want to just use the web address. So we're going to double click on that and replace it with theirs. And then make sure you hit save and close. And before we're done, we're going to test out all of our links to make sure that they're working. That's a really important part of just the steps that you take in order to make sure that when you send it out, you're sending it out really good information and everything works, because it's really embarrassing when you have misspelled words and broken links. So, okay, we have a picture of Chrissy here. So we're gonna do some editing of this image because it's a really great image, but what does it say to you? Like it says, we have a happy person, but what does Intentional Faith want to say? We want to promote volunteerism. So that's what we're going to talk about here. So now I like the you, because when we're doing marketing, and that's really what we're doing here, is we have been taught from the time we're in like grade school that you shouldn't point at people and say you did this or you did that. But in marketing, it's flipped. You actually want to say you, and it's more like saying you, like this, you can make a difference. So it's like a really positive statement, but you're also trying to engage your audience so that you can get them to take action. And that's what we want with nonprofit, take action. And then hit the invert. And that's kind of cool. Like, I don't know if that's the right color. Let's try their red. If we double click it, change the red to that red.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it stands out more.
Yeah.
It's just a little more polished. All right, we're going to save it.
I love it.
So look, there's our before.
Okay.
And now here's our after.
I like that.
See how much more polished it looks?
Yeah.
And what I would do, so don't forget, save and close. What I would do here is I would add a little story about, you know, like, I think there was a story on social media that talked about Chrissy and what she was doing and stuff like that. That's where I would put this story, and I would just make it a happy story about how it made her feel to volunteer, and then also include like how we were talking about the links. You could even, if their website has a sign up for volunteering page, you would want to link it to this. So include the link. So anytime there's a picture, always add a link, because people push pictures. You've probably done it yourself, right?
Yeah.
Mailchimp will tell you when your picture is too big. Right here it says, this image is so big it might cause slow load times or get clipped in people's inboxes. So it says, let's fix it. Well, we're going to do more than just fix it. So instead of clicking here, which you could, if that's the only thing you have to do, click this. But if you have more editing to do, click edit, because we can fix it in the same time that we're adding graphics to it. We change the dimensions. We could change to make it more of a square. We could do something more like this, talk about why the mission exists. If, let's say, you're using it on social media, you may want to make sure that your image still represents your brand because people borrow images all the time. And this should go away. Yep, there we go. So now that our image is the right size, we don't have to change anything there. And we're going to tell a little story. So we click on the little pencil and we're going to tell a story about how this woman has been serving in the community. I want to say she's at the Manna House, if I remember correctly, but I don't know her whole story. Like, let's try to capture some emotion for the people who are reading it. We can see that the numbers are good as far as the width and the height. Let's look and see if a square might be better. We can make the square a little smaller. We want to keep that flag. I think that looks good. Now, the only reason we may not want to do that is if it's going to cause trouble getting the words in there. So let's go back to this, because I think this green space might be a really good, or even this white space might be a really good place to put some words.
Yeah.
And I just want to caution you on anything that you say with somebody's face that is local, because I feel like it could definitely hurt feelings if it's not. This is an important message. Let me just say that. This is a very important message, but we don't want to hurt anybody by sharing their story publicly. And I still don't know that these are the words that I would use. I definitely think when you're talking about something as sensitive as this, you have to take all angles of consideration before sharing it publicly. So if this was an image you found on Unsplash, I would not question it. But I don't know this woman, and I don't know where this image came from, so I'm going to guess that she's part of Intentional Faith somehow. So it could be interpreted either way, depending on who's reading it.
Right.
But
I like that statement, because you're not offending nobody, saying,
right.
You know, it's not offensive. It could be meeting the needs of anything, you know, in generalization. And then I like that it said 100 meals provided in August, meeting the needs of our neighbors. It just specifies that. It doesn't say that she is in need. It doesn't say
exactly
crisis or anything like that. So I like
that. Okay, and then this is where we would put the story right underneath it and just say, like, you know, how the 100 meals was provided, in what way, you know, give a little call to action as well. Maybe they want to, you know, do what she did, whatever. I also think with branding your image, you want to talk about the people behind the scenes. And so this is Anita. I think Rita knows Anita. Do you know Anita?
I do.
I know Anita.
I just think it's really sweet, and I think this would be a great opportunity to talk, you know, a little bit more about the team. If you're using images that are more portrait style, it's not going to go to Instagram unless you take it there on your own, which you can. But using Mailchimp, you're going to need to use a square. I think you can use landscape, but I know square is better. Frame on this because it's a birthday image, just for fun.
Yeah.
Using the free version of Mailchimp gives you a limited number of frames. All right, so we're gonna have a little message using that graphic. What should we say? Maybe like, let's celebrate or something like that. Overlays. We did the frame. Let's put an overlay on here. I don't think we want any of these ones at the bottom, but maybe we want to try this one and lighten it up a little.
Can you shift it? Is there? Yeah.
Let's try the hearts, or let's try the color circles. We don't want them on her face if we can help it. That's the thing with this one, it's going to be on her face. Let's try the hearts.
I like the heart.
It looks like love. I think it looks like, you know, it says that the Intentional Faith team loves her.
Right.
Celebrate, and we have a nice little frame that kind of goes with her outfit, and it looks like we're sharing the love of a team member. So save it. So that was our before, and here's our after. And so that's where I would say, let's tell a little story about Anita. Share a story about Anita and her involvement as a team member. I found another image of Terry. Since he's the director, I thought it would be good to have something for him, to be like in the closing remarks and how to get involved and that sort of thing. We have all of these editing features over here, and we're just doing a very simple layout right now. But if we wanted to, we could do so much more. And one of the things that I would recommend is, and by the way, you just drag and drop, you click on it, you hold it, and you let it go once you get there. So right here would be a great place to drop a video. And videos are also another great tool to be able to captivate and engage your audience. And I'm just gonna say add the devotional YouTube channel here. I think the font is really good. The only thing I think I would want to add is the little sticker.
Yeah.
And get to the YouTube channel. Now, for some reason, I think because this graphic is so small, it's making their logo look really pixelated. So, not sure if this is going to work the way that we want it. And then I say that once it's saved, you can put a little story here, about mentoring leaders and how to get involved with intentional faith. And then I used a button down here. Remember I was telling you about all these tools over here? You can pull this one right here, you can pull it over, and that's what I did. I put this button here. And I use the words register now because I'm thinking of a fundraiser, but maybe it's more about listen now. And that's where we would put in the devotional. And so it could be attached to the picture. It could be that maybe they didn't think to push the picture. So if we have that button, it's a reminder to push the button and you can listen now. So telling people what to do is really, really important when it comes to getting them to take action. It was really good. I like this.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.